Hello, welcome in. I am, of course, your game master for this episode. My name is Zach. Along with me, I have my contestant, Nick.
Oh, boy.
Indeed, oh boy. There's actually no games involved. In fact, maybe. At least I have no trap set. This is a trap-free game, in fact, perhaps.
I forgot to set my traps.
Yeah, exactly. Trap-free. And as much as I'd love to jump right into sports and talk about how my Denver Nuggets are being hampered by injuries and cannot find a good way to win at home, at least in an effective way, we have other news to talk about first. HBO bought up. Got bought up by Netflix as of yesterday night, I do believe, and we're recording here on Friday, first Friday of December here, so we have a new home.
Yeah, so the news I saw was that it's the WB, the Warner Brothers Discovery company, that Netflix has announced the plans to. Now, still has to go through like several different steps of regulatory kerfuffle before it has actually become official. But it is valued at an $82 billion sale.
82.9 like billion dollar sale.
82.7 or something.
Yeah, basically $83 billion sale.
Yeah, well, what's a few hundred million between friends like that?
Well, I don't know how much friends they were. Warner Brothers, of course, did not do so well. Discovery basically wanting to offload the bits and parts.
Everything we've seen from that, the actions of the merger company of WB Discovery has been an attempt to like just be a cost-cutting, value-maximizing, not even like media company anymore, more like just tax machine.
Basically, they love them some good old tax cuts and breaks and all the above. And what does this mean for all the listeners and viewers of the show, whether you're watching on the YouTube or the podcast networks? Well, this means places like, or your shows such as Harry Potter, your DC, a couple of other any of the HBO
all the
entities.
Game of
Thrones, The Sopranos, any of the HBO entity, all owned by Netflix now, as well as Cartoon Network and Adult Swim.
Yeah, from Netflix's point of view, it makes sense to basically acquire one of your bigger competitors in the streaming market and get a pretty sizable bump to your library prestige and volume in one fell swoop. But yeah, the flip side of that being there are now maybe like 3 different companies that if you are a person who is trying to make a TV show or movie or something in this day and age, you've got about 3 major companies that you can try and pitch them to. As
Disney,
opposed to what used to be like 8 or 9.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much that is. Not ideal, of course, but each one's like...
From the perspective of the people who are making the stuff, they are pretty terrified of it.
That I understand and get, especially as we've seen how some of the shows are being treated as we continue to go along.
Yeah, and in almost every creative industry, it's pretty rough out there where even delivering like solid gold masterpieces is not like enough to keep you safe from getting fired anymore.
No, they're Netflix and Hulu and all the above have known to take shows that are very critically acclaimed and being like, I guess I think I'm good on this.
We kind of don't want to spend that money anymore.
Yeah, and a lot of the shows tend to be the ones that are usually not like the big money making effort shows, which I also find a little interesting.
I mean, the biggest ones that you always like will hear about are the ones that overperform and like give you the big bang for your buck from a studio perspective because they want that to be like the ideal, but it's so rare for that to actually happen.
Yeah, the one thing special about this deal, this will give Netflix its first land to produce their own stuff on too as well.
Oh, there's real estate involved.
Yeah, that they're taking all of the Warner Brothers real estate as well in the deal.
And that's the entire lot with the water tower and everything.
Correct.
Interesting. Yeah, that does put basically Netflix into the big boy sort of movie production mode as opposed to just having to finance it from behind, essentially.
I would assume they only really do this, especially with the real estate deal, if you're planning to make some more Netflix originals.
Yeah, they certainly want to kind of get a stranglehold on Netflix, not only being an in-home name, but probably now an in-theater name too.
Very much so. I'm interested to see how they're going to play along with some of the other players. Like I know Amazon has some licensing agreements with how Lord of the Rings works, which is another title that they now own. So I'm curious if they're going to be like, and we'll take that back.
I'm sure the contracts have some sort of timeline on them or something, and then when renegotiation comes up or whatever, that's probably when changes will happen to that. But speaking of the competitors in the marketplace, those are going to be the entities who will be during this next, because I think it's not until 2026 when whatever commission board in the government will actually convene to approve this deal. And in the interim, there is, I've already seen like reports of several different versions of parties of like actors and other production companies and stuff who are going to be lobbying pretty hard to Congress to get them to veto this deal.
I'm interested to see how, I can't imagine Congress stopping this because, like, why? But
Antitrust, anti-monopoly. You learn your history.
You're not, but they're not like a monopoly, like you said. They kind of have the two major players in this being Disney and Netflix now for the mostest part, and then you have
it is a step because if you allow this merger company that becomes a very big fish now, it's encouraging other like.
The only reason I would say that they can't stop it is because they let all the Disney ones go through, like, which are much bigger, like Disney buying Fox, Disney buying
This
Hulu.
is true.
This one feels like much smaller than any of the stuff that Disney has done and sort of continue to grab.
Well, from a price tag point of view, I think it's the biggest one so far.
Agree.
But that's just kind of it's like with sports contracts. It's like they just kind of get bigger over time, so that's not too surprising.
Unless you play hockey.
Unless you're in the NHL, and then there's some ups and downs involved. It is going to be a hurdle they have to clear. How difficult of a hurdle it becomes is, we'll see how organized and who is for and against this. Because like I said, basically, if you don't work for Netflix or Warner Brothers and you are in the media space, you kind of don't like this deal.
Agree.
Because the other thing that everyone is fairly certain of is even if you do work for Netflix and Warner Brothers, you are probably not going to be safe, because the very first thing that happened when Warner Bros. And Discovery merged was a whole bunch of studios got closed and a whole bunch of people lost their jobs and they never got replaced. There was no, we're getting new people. They're just like, nope, those jobs are cut.
I mean, for sure, they're probably going to cut some of the same jobs because you don't need Netflix and HBO Max for a long time. They may not be cut initially, but I can't imagine they keep both up, especially if you own both studios.
Just from that like lack of option thing, it does become a very heavy hand of now like one of the biggest distribution systems is Netflix, and if you get passed over by their decision making or whatever, good luck getting back into the industry.
There's ways. There are other ways. Go to Disney or Paramount, I think is the other one.
The avenues are getting slimmer and clogged with more and more people trying to get in them, which is kind of the opposite of what you would want in a thriving market where there would be plentiful opportunities galore and lots of good competition and the good supply driving up the cost of the goods and services and all that.
I can't imagine, though, like a studio like the Disneys and the Netflix of the world, you can't manage like all the studio stuff. It can't be like the same people making the same decisions for what goes on a Fox versus what goes on Disney versus what goes on all, like that feels insane to me. Like it feels like you still have some options like within the
it kind of depends on the the business structure and decision making people of those like CEOs and stuff. Some people in those executive suite jobs think they know a lot more about everything than they actually do, and will definitely stick their nose into decisions that they have no business making in their little subsidiaries. That's going to be like, that's the worst case scenario take on it potentially, but it would be interesting to see, because the thing with that is like, even if Netflix gets like this bigger, better library and everything, it's not like going to get cheap. They're not going to use that money to like make it cheaper. They're not going to be like, we are lowering the prices back down on the plan so more people can get on board. That's not going to happen.
No, the users are for sure going to be affected. The prices will for sure be going up, but if it's at the cost of we get this bigger, grander library,
which is what it kind of used to be anyway. Back, I remember back in the day, but that is before everyone knew what their streaming rights were.
Yeah, but when we just had the monopoly of Netflix, you had to go here for your
Well, they were
cheap,
at that time they weren't considered monopoly. They were innovators in the space. They were just the only ones there, first to market, which is a good place to be. But yeah, now everyone caught up.
It is, but that does sound like a monopoly to me.
There's distinctions and whatnot. I don't know. We have to play the board game.
Yeah, Park Place. Netflix is building all the hotels on all the land.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see how they do play around, because I imagine they don't mess too much with DC, because James Gunn has pretty much turned around that studio and how everything's done, and a lot of people are enjoying their content. I would love to see them bring back all my Cartoon Network and Adult Swim content that goddamn Discovery keeps getting rid of.
That will be the big question, is to see kind of what happens to that digital archive that is currently being held hostage, essentially.
With the dive that Netflix has been making into animation, K-pop Demon Hunters, a lot of the anime that they have produced and are kind of like the North American owners of, Today and Today and being piece of that, it feels like I am slightly hopeful for what they have planned.
I mean, they
at least
definitely,
from the animation standpoint.
They definitely want to. I mean, they have a foothold in that sort of niche in the anime world. Crunchyroll is kind of their main competitor in that space, obviously, and then there's probably the Japanese specific ones. And
yeah, Crunchyroll is like the biggest one in the world. They're like, there's no like competition for Crunchyroll in general.
But they are like Netflix does want to be able to say, hey, if you want, you don't have to go over to Crunchyroll. Look, we've got plenty of anime to choose from over here. But there is like a big difference in like being a producer on a show where you're kind of like just kind of funding a studio to make it, as well as like being the American distributors on, again, Japanese productions, versus getting a studio, hiring artists and all that to fully self-producing. That would be the more interesting route, as if they were like going to invest some of that money into, because you're right, they have a very vested interest in like doing original IPs in that. Blue Eye Samurai, I think, is a really good one. That's
very highly rated. It's on my to-do list.
It's already season 2 in production. That is an incredible bit of storytelling there.
Sakamoto Days.
Sakamoto Days.
Sakamoto.
One of those two.
Yeah.
With the they got the full who's who of voice actors on that one for the American dub.
They do.
They have a handful of those, but again, those are things where like they're licensing essentially to put the Netflix like bumper at the beginning of the credit rolls. But yeah, I would love for them to like announce, hey, an LA based anime studio or something. That would be pretty interesting and groundbreaking, and like making jobs and really doing something like innovative.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting piece of this is, right, because with owning Warner Brothers, this is kind of their first step into also they own TV space now as well.
Sure, yeah, which they've kind of never needed to be interested in before, so that'll be curious to see if they bother.
I think that's just sort of like beneficial. Like, you get this on streaming, but you can also watch this on this old box that we've never really done anything with.
That is going to be a potential, but because it's unlikely that if you haven't already captured a TV watching audience into also signing up for Netflix by now, how, like, I don't know. I don't think like the thing I could see is like the Warner Brother Discovery channels being like able to advertise with like, catch the Netflix exclusive here or whatever for special screenings.
So there is one show that is in sort of this weird state, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is owned by Cartoon Network, but has all been developed by Hulu, who is owned by Disney.
Mm-hmm.
This show being Gumball, which they just brought back, and I don't know how. I guess I assume there's some agreements there and whatnot, but that's a Netflix-owned space now, or will be a Netflix-owned space now here eventually. And Gumball, I know they're making another season of the brand new Gumball, the brandy new.
And that is an interesting one where, because I believe the reason that it's able to now come up through Hulu in the new version is that the Gumball team basically finished out their Cartoon Network contract, which is why they didn't get renewed. So then they're kind of free agents again. So
they were, and Hulu said, we will pay you guys to do this.
To do that exact same thing.
Yep,
we're just going to put a slightly different name on it.
Yeah, we'll show this stuff here, and I guess if Cartoon Network wants it, they can have it too. But
yeah, I'm sure whoever owns Cartoon Network now, Warner Brothers.
It is Warner Brothers. Yeah.
Definitely wanted to get in on that action, because that is, again, a very loyal and dedicated and homegrown fan base from like a decade of excellent product.
Yeah, the things I'm interested and excited for Netflix to take on is, what are they going to do with the Harry Potter show? I can't imagine that's not going to be on Netflix now, especially if they take over.
Oh, yeah. That show is going to be memorable for so many reasons outside of anything that happens on the screen.
It's already going through like 4 different companies.
Yeah. Plowing ahead, but no one's really sure which logo is going to be on the check next.
Nope. Doesn't matter. I can't imagine, like, that is something everybody wants, and it's only going to print money, in my imagination. All depends on how good it is. You're going to
have for sure a spike of like interest and viewership and whatnot on release. Whether or not it is just a like, oh, here's that new Harry Potter thing, and then everyone falls off, or not, will be up to the actual quality of the thing and how accessible it is at the time. Like, if it's $35 to sign up for Netflix at that point, you might lose a pretty good chunk of audience of people who are like, I know what happens with the glasses boy. I don't need to see it again.
I don't know. If you're a Harry Potter fan, and there's the crazy ones out there for sure, you're going to pay whatever to see it.
But then I think you're going to get most of that full audience attention on season 1, episode 1, and whether or not you keep everyone for season 2, the Lockhart years, that will remain to be seen, because I think it's a very good opportunity to make a better product than what the Harry Potter movies are compared to the books. All that being said, there's a slightly problematic issue of where the money of the Wizarding World of Harry Potter goes into the pockets of people who are actively being mean to trans people for no good reason in bad legal ways.
Fair enough. The one thing I will say that I do have to give Netflix and Disney/Hulu credit for is they have been doing a pretty decent job of taking projects that are like done or finished with and sort of rebooting them, like the Gumballs of the world, kind of taking up an opportunity where they're like, everyone wants this thing, maybe a little expensive, but it's worth the cost for some of the shows.
I mean, I agree. I do appreciate that they are doing that, but also what a very low bar of...
The bar is kind of where it is. Yeah. I don't blame them. They didn't set it. They just had to get over it. Thank you, HBO, Warner Brother, Discovery /
Yeah, some
whoever.
Other people may have been fumbling, but it's a very chaotic marketplace out there right now. But yes, good on them for making the very prudent choice of just getting across the finish line these basically done passion projects for projects that have loud audiences screaming for their delivery, please. Which is why we're getting more Steven Universe.
Steven Universe, the one that I'm excited that I am potentially they may do something in the works, maybe perhaps, is the Boondocks.
Oh, interesting.
Because that's owned by Warner Brothers, now owned by Netflix.
I imagine that's based on whether or not the creator guy has any more juice.
Well, he's kind of expressed interest in doing something for the right price and with so much control, because he did lose.
How long has it been since, what was the last one, season 4?
Season 4 happened my junior or sophomore year of high school, so it's been 12 years, I want to say, if I had to guess.
Yeah, 2014. Originally aired 2005. Man, I'm old.
You are old. We covered this on the birthday special.
This is true. So yeah, that's a full decade of culture and whatnot to have new commentary on. I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah.
It's an expensive voice acting cast.
Yeah. Only thing we are missing Grandpa now.
Yeah, that too. Which happens when you take a decade off of production.
Them's is the ways. But for casual viewers, everyone, Netflix is going to get more expensive. That sucks for all, but you will have potentially a greater. I'm curious how far they're going to deep dive into that vault and what they're going to release. So that's all good potential. So cost benefit there. If you are a creator, however, things are looking slim, and God bless you if you have a good idea.
I hope you have the next K-pop Demon Hunters, which is also a thing that is on Netflix now, but they bought it from Sony when Sony was selling off properties during the pandemic.
They're like, oh, this is good product.
Basically, Sony was having a little yard sale at pandemic times. Be like, hey guys, it's tough out here. We're trying to make ends meet. And Netflix comes walking by like, okay, yeah. No, the kids like K-pop, don't they? We'll take this one, K-pop Demon Hunters. Sure.
Or are they the damn scalper who's out there at every garage sale doing the evaluations? He's on the eBay.
No, that gives Netflix way too much credit. They miss on a fair number of these swings that you just don't hear about.
That's fair.
While we're talking about Netflix, Stranger Things season 5 slowly coming out. I know you've started.
I finished.
Okay.
They are doing the. Also, I thought. I don't remember if the beginning was
two more chunks coming out.
Yeah, there's two more chunks. One
like is Christmas and a New Year, I think.
Yeah, it's 31st. I think is the last chunk. But I can't remember if they were supposed to do the first episode or the last episode. It's supposed to be in theaters. Is like the grand finale. It might be the last episode.
That makes sense.
This was the theater release.
It's very funny having seen this.
The Harry Potter effect?
Yeah, well, certainly that is amplified by quite a bit, but just the fact that this is a series that had so much momentum when it first came out a decade ago and was had the potential to keep up on that year to year thing, and now these are 20 somethings playing high school kids, which is the old trope anyway, but
Harry Potter.
Very much so. These actors have aged themselves out of the look that they had when they started.
For sure that. But I would, if you looked at them, I could still pass them off as a high schooler for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, for sure.
Not like goddamn
but when you
Daniel Radcliffe out here.
I haven't fully kept up. I kind of fell off with the enormous gap between season 3 and 4, which was during the pandemic. So there's not a lot that you could have done about that.
I've enjoyed all the seasons except for season 2. Season 2 was I have no clue what's going on here.
Was that the one with Sean Astin?
Yes. That's where
nice
11
boyfriend.
Went off on her adventure with.
Oh, yeah. I was still, following along in season 2. Season 3, I will say, started to get me a little lost at the end. And then because of the 3 or 4 year gap between seasons 3 and 4, I just didn't really pick it back up.
It's a worthwhile binge. On your list of bingings, you've binged worse.
No. Maybe. I mean, I will definitely try and, I will probably wait until all of season 5 is done. I don't like these little in-between wait sessions.
If you haven't done season 4 yet, you got plenty of time.
Yeah, and I'll just do it all in one go. Make sure I can get to the finish line.
Madman.
Make sure the road is completely paved before I take the journey.
Oh, look, the bridge isn't finished.
Yeah. So you can't get too confident being they always finish the bridge. Sometimes they don't finish the bridge anymore.
There's a lot of bridges that have not been finished in my life.
Exactly. So I'd like to make sure the path is fully set before me.
What is a Grogu doing here?
I did finally catch up on Mandalorian, though.
I haven't had the heart quite yet to jump back into The Mandalorian and Boba Fett. Those are the two I don't know. I gave up.
They're a very specific flavor of Star Wars that you kind of have to be into a lot of the non-Jedi, non-politics, which is most of the main movie stuff.
This is basically space western.
Exactly. It is 100% that, which is a kind of different flavor of story going on out here in the Star Wars universe, which I still have fun with. And they did bring back, we get the live-action appearance of the bounty hunter from the Clone Wars.
Oh, Cad Bane.
Yes, and that's pretty cool.
Everyone loves a Cad Bane.
If you're one of the people who followed the animated Clone Wars, 3D animated Clone Wars series.
Arguably the best Star Wars ever.
It's really good. Although, I mean, I'm also a big fan of the 2D Genndy Tartakovsky.
I mean, he is a master of his own in the.
But that is
space.
non-canon technically. But that's a real good Star Wars story too.
They are, but they're like 5 or 10 minutes or something like that. Something ridiculous.
It's like 15, 11-minute episodes.
I think you can find the whole thing on YouTube right now.
I definitely have. Because it is fun to give it a little watch every now and again. They're real good. What were we talking about?
Oh, you know, Netflix and things. Our new overlords.
That's right. The Stranger Things. I'll have to wait for it to all come out.
While we're here, I saw this post earlier that all the Star Wars are inappropriately named. They're all misnamed.
Okay.
Like all the namings are wrong.
Sure.
Like the first one is like the Rise of the Skywalker because we meet Anakin.
We saw episode 1?
Episode 1. Episode 1.
Should be Rise of Skywalker instead of episode 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
And episode 2 shouldn't be
Attack of the Clones or.
Yeah, because they give Order 66 in episode 3. That should be Attack of the Clones.
That's also, I've heard that argument before for sure.
I think episode 2 is supposed to be Revenge of the Sith, if I remember, because Palpatine starts to take over there.
And that's when his grand plans all start unfurling for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, like, you could definitely do a mixogram rearrangement of Return of the Jedi as, like, for 6 doesn't actually make a ton of sense.
No, because that's 4.
Yeah, and then A New Hope probably bumps up into the 7, 8, 9. Probably 9.
New Hope, I think. No, 9. Is 9 the last one?
Yeah.
9 is Phantom Menace. Because you have Palpatine doing all the puppeteering in the background.
Oh, interesting. Potentially. But then I would argue that sort of misses the point of the naming convention on the Star Wars episodes, but that's a more philosophical conversation.
I don't know anyone who pays attention to what the actual title is. You just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Nah. New Hope. Empire Strikes Back.
I can't even remember all the names.
Return of the Jedi. Then you had episode 1.
Phantom Menace.
Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. And then episode 7, Force Awakens. Episode 8, The Last Jedi. Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. Easily the worst of the bunch.
Yeah, I think that's...
It's just such a slot. Like, on its own, it's not a terrible... It's not a great movie. I can't give it too much credit at all, but...
Here's a fun little... Would you rather watch The Last Star Wars or your least favorite Harry Potter movie? You have to watch one.
Ow. Between episode 9 of Star Wars or Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, which is movie 6, I never really like watching Half-Blood Prince anymore, so I would go with the Star Wars one in this terrible Would You Rather.
I don't know.
Somehow, Palpatine has returned.
He's more palpable than...
Yeah. Oh, no, yeah, definitely episode 9, because episode 9, for all its warts and flaws and major stumbles...
The AI-written script...
These 3 movies were not written by any of the same people syndrome did give us Babu Frick, and that is one of the best Star Wars characters ever.
That's what it's Jar Jar Binks.
That's my pull away from episode 9.
Jar Jar Binks, basically.
Thank you for Babu Frick.
Thank God for Babu
It's a
Frick.
little guy. He's about he's 2 inches tall, and he goes wee.
That's the highlight of it.
And that's the best part of this movie. Not when Luke comes back as a Force ghost, spoiler. Not when Han comes back as a Force ghost, spoiler. Not when Ben turns to the light side finally with 10 minutes left in the runtime. Oh, is he going to survive? I wonder. No, spoiler.
Ain't that just the way?
And then all them Skywalkers are dead.
Well, kinda.
In a move that's supposed to seem like it's a nice... Rey Skywalker.
Technically, they're all just orphans, so...
Kind of. Force orphans? Forphans?
Who's your daddy? Anyway, let's talk about sports.
Yeah, let's.
I watched an interesting thing this week. DNVR, one of our Denver podcasts here, sports, they had a chance to sit down with Walker, our new sort of leader and force in the Rockies. For the Rockies, Walker.
Walker Monford.
Monford, yes, that is his name.
It's not Larry Walker.
No, it's not Larry Walker. He's a Canadian. He's busy doing other things.
Yeah.
Walker Monfort, but they had a cool little 30, 45-minute sit-down conversation with him and sort of his direction. I will say it worthwhile for maybe it's good for your eyes to sort of take a peek if you do so dare. I like his direction, but from what the gist and grab I had of it is he's wanting to evolutionize the Rockies. Like he brought in analytics. Who knew that was so important? Thank you, Walker. But it kind of sounds like he's only able to do whatever the cash that his father is going to let him do.
Whatever daddy says I can do, I'm going to do my best with it.
Yeah. He knows. He's worked, luckily enough for us, through all the organizations selling tickets. I
have heard that part of Walker's story where, yes, he has fully grown up through the entire organizational chart of the Rockies as a ball club, which is very rare and good experience to have if you intend to run and like kind of steward the team along.
Yeah, and I wish they would have asked him some
better questions.
Not better questions, but like the hard-hitting question, like, he understands that we suck and he wants to change that, but he also understands, like, in their mind, since we suck so bad that we're not allowed to suck anymore. Thank you.
Yeah.
That it's going to take a while for us to be okay again.
Oh yeah, there's no like turning this ship around overnight. It's a full top to bottom retooling. This is basically the equivalent of buying not even like a nice old muscle car or something, just like a beat up 70s Oldsmobile or something. It is technically a car still, and it does, if you turn it just so it'll kind of turn, you get that ready for the new, NASCAR race we've got going on. We've got all these other cars ready to go. You're running that out here.
I don't know what the future holds for the Rockies. I
did have we did get some more like job announcements.
We got a new, what is it? It's like president of baseball, like operations or something like that.
So our Moneyball guy who we stole from the Cleveland Browns, name I forget at the moment, is president of baseball operations.
Yeah, he's handling all the baseball decision things.
And then, he's just hired from the World Series winning LA Dodgers, their VP of something to be our new general manager. So that's going to be our roster builder. The very first article I saw covering that, it was from a Dodgers blog saying how basically the Rockies are going to learn a lesson again about how like 3 other teams in the NL West have tried picking out Dodgers like executives from the general managing suite and tried to get them to turn their teams around, and the closest anyone has come to seeing success out of it was San Francisco for like 2 years in 2016 or something.
I don't think they made it then.
It's not a great track record.
To be honest, I'm all for just kind of throwing spaghetti right now and just seeing what sticks. We have so long to kind of right our ship. Our ship is so far out at sea.
We looking to the horizon of the Rockies, you can see maybe the inklings of something that might be looking like an upward slope at some point, but mostly we're trying to not fall into the record-setting valley again.
We've hit so many icebergs.
Yeah, because it's nice to see new things happening in the organization, but then like you're saying, like you want the team, basically Dick Monfort, who is still the owner and the final, like, that is the guy who has responsibility for this whole thing, to have some sort of accountability for the fact that he said we would be a competitive team like for the last however many years, that we would be some of the best defense in baseball and bottom tier of every metric on like all of those accounts.
Yeah, Walker recognized that everything is bad and he understands why fans are frustrated. I wish they would have asked him what is more important to him, whether it's putting butts in seats as Dick Monfort has done in the past, or being a competitive baseball program. We here in the Mile High State have been lucky enough that all the owners, for the most part, are fairly competitive. Like the Bolins of the world, they set out to go and win football games. The Cronkies are here to win
everything.
Everything they possibly can at any cost.
In every venture they get into.
And the Rockies are like, we're making money.
Essentially, that is because the answer to that question has been for the last few years, they don't really worry about putting butts in the seats. The butts show up no matter what they do.
Pretty much, which is the vibe I got is Walker wants to change that, but I don't know how much control he's going to get to do so.
Like I said, it's nice to see new breaks in the pattern of what we've watched for the last decade unfold with the fumbling of contracts and stuff like that. I mean, we're still kind of underwater on that Chris Bryant affair, and I don't think he's going to play baseball again at this rate.
Not for the Rockies, at least.
I mean, he hasn't done baseball activities since he got deactivated last April, I don't think.
He's played 20 or 30 games as a Rocky total.
170 something over 5 years, which is out of a potential 600 plus games. It's bad. It's a terrible ratio.
Not a good ratio.
It's been the worst baseball of his career, and it largely does have to do with this kind of progressive back injury thing that he's. I think it's either he's done or he's gonna do a Gabe Landeskog come back 3 years from now and have a rebuilt spinal cord or something.
I don't know if they build backs quite yet. Knees for sure, but backs, that's a little.
Yeah, that's why it's a pretty. If any sport was going to debut it would be baseball, but because they got the money.
They got shoulders.
So, yeah, all of that to say, nice to see some new faces in the building. It's still the same circus for the most part.
Unfortunately. Let's talk about some happy stories for the most part. Avs still only have one loss to their name, which is.
Well, that was true until yesterday.
They had one loss to their name up until yesterday. You are correct.
We did have a bit of a stinker out in New York against Patty Waugh and his Islanders.
They've been upset for. They're running on pure rage right now.
Oh man! So not only all the stuff with Mikko, I don't imagine you saw the clip of. I have to see who his name is. Guy tears his ACL going down into the boards, and he gets himself. Oh, it's Kyle Palmieri. Went down into a pile in the boards, grabbing his knee. He knows it's bad. He's like, down. You know how tough hockey players are. He's down on the ice for a while. The play is moved out to the other side of the ice, and the ref kind of comes over and he's like, "Hey, do you need me to blow the whistle so that the
good, bro?
Trainers can come out?" And the dude, he's like, hops on his skates. He's doing the limping one-legged skate back to the bench. The other team, who are they playing?
Please tell me this man does not get blown up again.
They're playing the Flyers. The Flyers bring it back into their own zone, so he's not offsides because he's still been just trailing in the defensive zone this whole time. They bring it back in. They don't know he's been back there. He stick lifts the guy, steals the puck away from him, and dishes an assist before hobbling off the boards and going straight down the tunnel because he knows it's done. And it's like he is the tick of a tic-tac-toe incredible goal. He will not play hockey again for about 8 months after his surgery, but it was an incredible hockey move.
We've had guys play full football games without ACLs around here.
This is true, which is also insane.
And that's completely insane.
But yeah, that was a wild... That same day, I think, was when Landy had a real nice one where he took a stick to the face, went down on the boards, and instead of trying to get the call, hopped back up and then got the goal on the other side of the net. It was a very good hockey goal day. But yes, the Islanders who we faced, so they had all the stuff with Mikko, then they had that happen where one of their players is now done for the year.
Unfortunately, we are friends of Mikko, so we are going to get some of the rage.
We got a little bit of the rage, and I think we finally had an off night from the goalie, who after point in the season,
how many weeks are we in?
Exactly, yeah. We can't really complain. Basically, all of the Avs fans after last night were like, that sucks, but we can't really complain about it at all when that is loss number 2 in the column. And we are already closer to Christmas now than we were to the start of the season.
Such a weird turnaround.
Absolutely wild.
Gabe Landeskog and a couple goalies, and right as rain.
Yeah, it's still very fun. That all being said, I do detest how much of the entire hockey media landscape is like, Avs have it locked up this year. This is the best looking hockey team we've ever seen, ever.
The one thing I will say as a Colorado person in general, I hate when people cheer for my team.
Yeah.
One, they start to play terrible, and two, it upsets me because, now you see me out here in my area that's the West Midwest.
We are one of the best hockey teams you've ever seen do it. Where have you been this whole time?
Hating.
Yeah. But it's hard. I mean, as people who have tried to be in the sports media landscape a little, when you're looking for stuff to write about, it's pretty easy to go look at the numbers and be like, hey, it's the same guys all across the entire board. That's kind of wild. Has that ever happened before? No? Not really? Huh. Look at that. Must be pretty good. So this is only the second game out of, we're on like game 29 or something, that we haven't gotten a point in the standings. Somehow the Stars are still right on our tail.
Because they only win games or lose games.
Yeah, I guess so. I think it's more that they are picking up that extra overtime when they go to the extra free hockey. This week also had a little bug going around the locker room from all the reports. So the goalies being a little kind of catching up with their good run of luck, now kind of coming back down to earth a little bit. I think Wedgwood kind of flared his back up. He might have been a little sick earlier this week. He got pulled out of a start that Blackwood finished up for him. And then this Islanders game, Blackwood definitely, kind of off. I think on a different night where we didn't have Trent Miner as the backup, he probably would have gotten pulled after goal number 3, if not goal number 4. But
the walk down the lineup and be like, you keep going, bud.
Yeah. That was one he just kind of had to wear. Speaking of which, this week was the 30th anniversary of Patrick Waugh demanding his own trade all those many years ago to bring him to the Avs. We had to recognize, especially because we were playing Patrick Waugh at the time. And it got to me thinking about how at the time, like 96, I'm only like 8 years old, don't have any. I'm learning about Patrick Waugh for the very first time in my life when this gets announced, like on TV that night or whatever. If I were the sports fan and like knowledgeable about the market that I am now back in 96 when this happens, I would have been so like, Patrick Waugh would have been the ultimate diva, but like, what a bad sport. He demanded he get traded from his team.
Is it weird to you that we kind of get a lot of our stars in such a fashion? If you really think about it, at least the ones who are on the Mount Rushmore of Denver sports.
You got Peyton. You've got
Peyton didn't ask. Peyton tried to stay, but they said you're too old. He got kicked out.
Yeah,
which is not the same.
You got Patrick Waugh.
Patrick Waugh for sure, diva.
You've got. Who else?
John Elway, most famously. I will not be going to Baltimore.
Yep, that's right. He was not a Broncos draft pick. Is there a Nuggets one?
No, we have people mostly asking to leave.
I was going to say, Melo's kind of the opposite. He wanted to go.
Allegedly, so I've learned a lot about that Denver.
There are some, that
Denver team. The Denver team that I so beloved. And we should have been
the 09 run?
Any time we had sort of Allen Iverson, Carmelo Anthony, or Chauncey Billups, Carmelo Anthony, and Kenyon Martin and J.R. Smith. Like that team realistically should have had should have had our first championship, but it just shows how much coaching and player management matters in the league. And George Karl, who notably is not very good at that at any place he's ever stopped before.
There were also some other like buzzsaw teams going around that time.
There was. I mean, the Lakers were the team.
That was still
the Lakers
Kobe
in Boston.
Town. Yeah.
Those were two very, very, very good teams.
Because I do remember getting fully invested for that one playoff run with, I think that was Chauncey and Melo.
Yeah, the Chauncey Melo one where we went to the Western Conference Finals against the Lakers, took them to game 6 or 7. Had we won that game, we would have taken on the Magic and beat them.
Everyone in the West was...
Yeah, we pretty much played the finals in the West, and then Dwight Howard and his team was going to suffer the wrath of whoever.
Yeah, I do remember the disappointment from that one, and I think that was a game 6.
It hurts. It all hurts. Kobe, one of my the worst nightmare for a basketball fan coming in,
outside of LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Before we get out of hockey news, there is one funny note I have about the Olympics. We've already discussed how there's all the controversy about
Shackled? Oh.
no, all the decision making about who's going to make the U.S. team, the Canadian team, and all that. There's been a little wrinkle in the news this week that actually the NHLers may not go because there is a slim chance of that happening. They're still building the rink in Milan currently, is the reporting coming out. They haven't quite finished it. They've had to reschedule a few qualifying games. The other news about the construction of this ice rink, it's not quite 200 feet by 85 feet like you ordered. We got pretty close. It's like 196-ish by like 83. We'll call it 83, just to be safe. Over there, it's 83. Over here, it's a little 83 and a half, you know? So, yeah, it is not to the NHL standard, which is one of the big major agreement points of sending the NHLers over.
The Olympics, the World Cup, or whatever, I'm all for doing and celebrating sports in such a fashion, but can we do it in places that have the infrastructure there already, like building the soccer stadiums in the middle of to try to support this, or the hockey rinks or whatever? It's madness. Why are we doing this? This is why
we should have Olympic Island, and it should have all the infrastructure that all the countries pitch in to pay for and upkeep.
Is it just an Olympic Island, or do you have to have a summer Olympic Island and winter Olympic Island?
Ideally, it is a Kanto Johto. It's all one big island, but there is a pure vertical line split down the middle.
I see.
And then there is like a full transition across, and you get full different. It's a little Wonka-esque.
I don't know if we could do that, because I'd really want my Summer Olympics to be more tropical and summery, and I want my Winter Olympics to be wintering. Yeah.
Then I guess it's Summer Olympic Island and Winter Olympics Mountain, probably. Most all the winter sports want to be on a mountain of some sort.
That feels fair.
Okay. But yeah, if we at all cared about practicality, all the countries would get together and be like, we're going to build one location for Olympic Games, and I'll keep it up, and this moving it around is nonsense. Making cities, because it's such a huge...
Honestly,
huge resource
that'd be
waste.
So beneficial to them. Just buy an island. You get to keep all the proceeds from the island. You have all the infrastructure.
You don't have to buy, we're talking about all the major powers of the world. Just coordinate and be like, we all grant the Olympic Committee or whatever this island.
They only do that for religion.
This is true. But yeah, that was the funny news out of the Olympics upcoming, is that
this oblong egg shape.
Whoopsie daisy. Because they're international, quote unquote, hockey rinks are different size than NHL rinks already. So that was kind of a big thing for them to say the Olympics would be NHL size, because it's a smaller sheet, which makes for a faster, more enclosed game, versus the international sizes, like a good 10 feet longer and a good 5 feet wider. So it's just it's a wide open game, which makes
all this space.
It makes it harder to do the clog up defensive games, but sometimes too much space means it's just kind of free floating and no one really has the puck that much.
Fair enough.
So different flavors. This will be some new hybrid of the two with slightly wonky dimensions.
This is Ice Egg.
Yeah. So we'll see. Assuming again that they actually do finish construction, which I bet they'll make the deadline. Just don't look behind the bleachers.
One side is good for defense. The other one is, if you're going the right way, that's huge advantage.
Yeah.
Anyway, in the round ball world where it's nice and warm because we play indoors without any ice or snow involved, the Denver Nuggets still trying to get through injuries. Jamal's been fighting his own injury. He rolled his ankle earlier this week or last week. Christian Braun still out. Gordon still out. So just finding dudes to fill space. Spencer Jones, who I talked about very briefly on another podcast in a later life, he's showing out pretty good, actually.
Yeah, getting some playing time, and
starting with those guys and getting a good amount of just a 3 and kind of just becoming a 3-and-D guy, which is Sure, why not?
Nice promotion for him from a guy who sits on the bench.
Huge, huge promotion for him. Honestly, it's so much better. We've tried a lot of things. The one dude I still can't stand seeing out there is Ignaji. Kind of a...
But are we maximizing his value at least?
Define what maximizing means. There's like Zeke Naji has not done a whole lot this season, and then when he does, it comes at a cost. It feels like a little bit. He's kind of like a dead even guy. He's not hurting you, but he's not helping you, which is like meh. And we still haven't seen our draft pick from last year, Deron Holmes, quite yet either.
Oh, I keep forgetting. That he's
there. He's just
there.
Chilling. And we've gotten a little bit of Jaden Pickett time, but that's because Jamal went down.
Right.
So, and I've seen very little Strother this year, which I found pretty interesting.
I'm also a little like he must be in the doghouse a little bit.
His roles kind of got taken. He is supposed to be like our catch and shoot guy, but he's not better than Tim Hardaway, who kind of took his role.
Sure.
And Tim Hardaway's a far better defender, which is like...
Yeah. This is the huge upgrade. And when you go to be like, who do we plug in? Strother or Tim Hardaway Jr.?
Everyone's like...
If I have the option, I'll take the Tim Hardaway, please.
Looking at them shooting-wise, Tim Hardaway's slightly better. Do I need defense? I definitely can't put Strother out there for that then. No. But we are making it through. At home, we are not doing so well. I think we're like a 500 at home team right now, which is very strange in our hometown of the Mile High City where we have the huge advantage of altitude. Away, though, we're on I think we're on a 14 or 15 game streak of winning games.
Something wild like that, yeah.
Which is absolutely insane. But we are just holding on. Cam Johnson did figure out how to play basketball within the past week. He's finally showing what we've all thought he can and would do, which is very, very nice. But the craziest round ball news does not come from within our hometown here. No, we have to go to the city of stars, the city of lights, Los Angeles. Okay. No, we're not talking about the Lakers. The Clippers.
What?
Who said, Chris Paul, come on home. You are a hero.
I did see
decided that 20 games into the season, they told him while on away, you know what, bro? Just go home.
Yeah, that's wild.
Which is crazy because they still have him technically on the roster. He's not cut, nor is he traded. But it does have to be at home.
I saw a thing that, the Clippers officials had to have meetings with him because he was lawyering up the locker room or something.
So the Clippers are having a problem that they are just having the absolute stinker of the season because Kawhi's not played very many games. They are 6-something right now, which is you're probably not making playoff basketball or looking like a playoff basketball team at this time and point. And Chris Paul, he is what most have described as a pit bull. Pit bulls do not like losing, and they would much prefer to win. And if you have just a team that's out here losing and they're just kind of like, the pit bull is kind of not going to fit in with that mix.
It is a weird mentality that I will say that happens in the NBA, because I don't even want to say it's like a basketball, it's NBA specifically where
there's it feels like a team dynamic, but it does happen in the NBA.
More common, because I remember when the Avs were the worst team in the league and no one was like happy about it, but they're not that the NBA teams are happy about it, but they're like a handful of them. They're just like, this is kind of exactly what we expected this year. What are you going to do?
I mean, they know how their roster's constructed. Like Charlotte's terrible. The Clippers are terrible. New Orleans is terrible again. Shocker, because Zion can't play a full season.
And that ends up becoming like one of those things of whenever you do get like into rebuild mode of like, can you identify the guys who are going to snap out of that and like actually get back into pitbull mode, or are these guys just like, we're a losing team?
So the crazy thing is Chris Paul had a bunch of options to go in free agency because he was basically going to sign a vet min.
Yeah.
He decided he wasn't going to chase a championship this year like he's done in years past.
Because we just saw him last year with
Houston. I do believe he went back to Houston, I think, because he was at Golden State. Was that not
him in Dallas?
No, Kyrie's in Dallas. Kyrie and D'Lo are in Dallas. I think he was he was somewhere else. He started in Golden State and then got traded somewhere, which was like a weird thing for him to be in Golden State because they hated each other for so long. But he had his sort of buffet of places to go, and he decided to go home to the Clippers, which is where he has probably played his best basketball. He's part of Lob City. Didn't win a championship there, but if we look at like the golden years of the Clippers, they all include Chris Paul. He said, I'm going to come back home for this, want to be next to my family. All sort of cool. Whatever happens is sort of happens.
A feel-good story.
A feel-good story. If I play, if I don't play, sure, whatever. I'm here just sort of for the vibes, be next to the family. And then the season starts to go on. He's like, you know what, guys? I think I'm going to retire at the end of the season as well. I'm 40 years old.
Yes, second oldest guy in the league.
My name is not LeBron James. My hairline is still intact, though. And I think I've kind of had it. And the Clippers are like, cool. Maybe and everyone in the NBA is like, this is going to be one of those.
Farewell tour.
A farewell tour for Chris Paul. And then we end up in Atlanta, but a few days ago. And they're like, Chris, buddy, go home.
What a way to treat one of your all-timers.
Can you imagine being sort of on the Mount Rushmore, Hall of Fame worthy?
Yeah, Peter Forsberg did this when he did his comeback attempt like late in his career to come back with the Avs.
But we never told him just to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Go home.
The notion of not giving Peter Forsberg every opportunity to try and like do whatever he wanted to do was unfathomable.
Especially on a team that you know is bad and nothing you do matters.
Just treat the guy well. Show him a little respect.
Show him a little. Chris Paul was not
no loyalty from the teams. That's the lesson.
He was messing up the vibe. He was messing up the chill vibe.
He wanted to win too bad.
He did. He did. But now he is open, and there's talks about where he should land next. And if he really wants a ring, there's a good place who potentially needs some more people off the bench.
Yeah.
And has a roster spot open, just so happens.
Oh, yeah.
And could potentially use a backup point guard that's not named Pickett.
This is true.
And I think he would fit in well, potentially. From what we've heard from all the reports is, and I quote, Chris Paul is not for everybody.
But he might be right for us.
If you are winning, I think Chris Paul is kind of chill about it, and he is going to do everything and try to push you. He'd be happy
to play some bench minutes for a winning effort.
I think a team that's in winning mode and is okay with the little extra push and barking would be okay with a Chris Paul.
Yeah, I mean, and it was he was in San Antonio last year.
That's
with the
right.
Spurs.
He did go. Him and Wemby. That's right.
And that worked out. That looked really good. That you were like, yeah, of course. Let the mastermind just dish it up to the big impossible to guard kid.
Teach the alien, and then they're like, Chris Paul, we went and got your replacement in trade deadline. They offered us one of them back room, open the trunk kind of deals, and we said,
yeah, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Even San Antonio wasn't playing Chris Paul, and they didn't tell him to go home. That's crazy. And they're terrible, too.
Yeah. He started 82 games. Full season. Hadn't done that since 2014.
Yeah, because he didn't have to play very much.
Yeah, that's wild.
Anyway, remember, get your respect and treat your legends right, kids.
Yes, absolutely. Speaking of legends, have you seen the trailer for what will be assuredly holiday season, Christmas time watch for getting the family around? The new documentary from Netflix, Elway, documenting our famous quarterback's long storied history.
So,
including some of the messy personal drama.
I do like me a good sports documentary. As a child, I used to just throw NFL Network on, and they had like the Super Bowl,
the
Super Bowl
lives
documentary. And those were my absolute favorite. And
Jerry Rice catching bricks.
Catching bricks. They had like all the Super Bowl ones where they interview the players, and I get really into the players. There's some players who I get to know more and I hate, and he is kind of one of those guys.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, he's just not a good person. I would say
that has been a recurring theme of getting older for sure, is learning like, oh, all these guys that we talk about with such glowing, always positive reviews have some pretty like rough spots to them outside of this one aspect of their life in the sports thing, which granted, extremely good at. Very, very good quarterback. Maybe one of the best to do it. Yeah, father, husband, community member, not so great.
Not to say that he's a bad, terrible person. He's just not a good person.
Yeah.
Not someone who I would like to dive more deep into.
It is a thing that at least like this documentary and its preview of it, and it's a funny like tone thing because on the one hand they are trying to be like, yes, we have interviews with Janet, his ex-wife, and his kids, and how his sort of volatile emotions affected them and all that. And then they cut to old man John Elway in a jet, like on a speedboat, being like, yeah, it was all very hard, but it was worth it when I got my trophy.
Some people are just like that. Some people can't. It's tough for...
Did you see that there was some interview that Tom Brady was doing where he was like, yeah, my dad was a better dad than I am for my kids.
I mean, yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I'm glad you're self-aware about that.
Like, I can't... Playing a professional sport, especially in the baseball, the basketballs, any of the professional sports, really. Football, I have a little bit of questions about. Like, you were really only away for 8 weeks of the whole year, of the 52 weeks for the most part, and even that's like part of the week. Like, you could be more present. I can't imagine we talked about how the professional athlete schedule, you're not doing a full day's worth.
There's certainly an ego phenomenon that happens there where like, and this is I think a thing that coaches talk about a lot more prevalently, of like throwing themselves unnecessarily into the work of putting in like 80 hours when 40 would have been fine.
Yeah, the coaches' world is much tougher because the coaches, you never stop. You always need to improve something on the offense or defensive side of whatever sport you're playing, and then depending,
it's a much more encompassing job for sure.
Like, there's no such thing as an off season. The off season means you have more work to do and put in,
and all that to like. We do know that for the top of the top, like elite athletes, that there is a similar level of like constant maintenance and routine and diet and nutrition work that like has to just become a part of, which is like and here's where it all kind of, you can kind of excuse why, like, oh yeah, they give all into their sport, and it's like hockey players are doing this all the time and not being bad parents and stuff too. Like
the hockey and the basketball and the baseballs of the world, like if you are still a present parent, God bless, because 82 games, 86 games, and then 100 and what feels like all 352.
Oh, baseball families are insane because and to have to pick it all up and move at the drop of a hat too is just as like that is a condition that might happen since you are in this career field. Very wild. And I'm glad they're not taking like the poor John Elway route. Like we'll be real about here it is, but it is largely a retelling. Like they got Mike Shanahan, they got Shannon Sharp, they got all the good archival footage for interviews and stuff about. Yeah, the very storied journey. And the thing for me is I've seen quite a lot of, I don't want to guess at every John Elway documentary, but I've seen a lot of John Elway documentaries already. So I know the story pretty well about the draft pick, the number 1 draft pick, the forced trade, the gonna go play for the Yankees, all that jazz. The Dan Reeves years, the bad Super Bowls, the good Super Bowls. And then riding off into the sunset.
Forcibly.
And then a funny car dealership and minor ownership stake in arena football phase.
A very successful arena football team.
Very successful, and led right into the general managing for the actual Broncos again phase, which we did get the happy ending on.
One of them, at least.
Yeah. Super Bowl 50, that was mission accomplished, for sure.
Very much so.
In that second chapter.
With that being said, anything else you want to cover this week before we wrap up?
I will throw out for those who may be of a similar disposition to me and enjoy the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, I thought you were going to say old, but, well, same.
Same. Flea has come out with, I believe, his first ever single, It is called A Plea, and it is a very much not like a radio. So it's very bass heavy, but also
I can't imagine
jazzy. And I do highly recommend catching the music video format of it. It is available on the streamers like Spotify and stuff. But there is a music video in which Flea does the choreography of the song. ? It's more of a poem. It's about a 7.5 minute long bass jazz experimental call to peace and denouncement of the strife and conflict in these trying times. And it's a fun little bit.
He ran into Andre 3000 somewhere, him and his flute.
Flea been that way for a hot minute. When Flea gets the so much desire to express a message that he has to do the song himself, that's when you know that it's going to be something hippy dippy.
Was it called Anthony Was Busy?
No, I mean, we can discuss that next week about whether or not we can expect a new Chili Peppers album anytime in the near future.
Fair enough. With that, go ahead and wrap us up.
Yeah, thanks for listening to another episode of 321 Presents. If you've been listening on Spotify, we'd love to get a 5-star rating from you. Same on the Apple Podcasts and basically anywhere that you happen to be taking in our fun little program here. That also includes YouTube and TikTok, where we are at 321 Pods, and you will be seeing those new animations shortly, gang. I've got all the clips picked up for... Well, I was caught up. Now I'll have a new episode to have to pull another clip from, but...
Taking birthday weekends off. What are we doing around here?
You know how it is. Now, with the clips are picked, the drawings are in progress, and then the editing will happen. I do want to have kind of a few in the tank before we start releasing, so to say. So we also have a website, 321pods.com, that will also be updated by the time you listen to this, probably. And otherwise, I have been the contestant on this non-game show game with my game master, Zach.
We will see you guys next week.
Adios.